Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Today the lights are a bit brighter than usual, so I can see you. Well, welcome everyone to this special edition that we're hosting today. We're just finishing the 2 intense days of the bootcamp of Road to Web Summit. We chose, along with the Web Summit, 100 startups that will represent Portugal in the event next week. So first of all, I would like to ask for a big round of applause for everyone who's been working for these 2 days. Preparing for this conference is always a bit crazy and difficult. It can be hectic. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of goals that can be reached. So it's very important for us to really try to stop and focus and ask ourselves what are our real goals for these days and how can we prepare. This is why today we gathered here 3 people that will help us think about how we can prepare better to the conference. We'll have an investor, corporate, and also someone from Web Summit who will tell us all the best tips and secrets to take the most out of the conference. This year, Portugal will have the biggest stand at the Web Summit, so I want to urge you all to visit us at Pavilion 4, E447, okay? So if you want to join us. So today, for our warm-up pitch, I'm going to ask 3 startups that were today at our Road to Web Summit bootcamp to pitch their startups. So to start, I want to ask Oleg Redko, directly from Ukraine, who's going to pitch BizBiz.
Hello, everybody. I'm very proud to present you our startup, BizBiz. BizBiz, and you're a business person. So, one of the main problems on crowd investment platforms is that many pre-seed and seed startups are not on the level of the investors. So, what we did is to create, first in its kind, platform with crowd investment automated system and in the same time a business acceleration services to these startups and also to the investors who are searching and scouting good startups and innovations. What we are doing is to create the perfect portfolio for the investor and to create the perfect environment for the startups who want to pitch to the investor and to succeed. It's an ecosystem which can perfectly work in Portugal and can bring as much as possible startups from outside and also locals. We are an impact startup. What means is that we are really socially active and we know what it is to lose everything. Our team members are twice refugees, first in 2014 in Crimea, when we lost everything and had to run away, and then lately in Kiev. So we know what it is to start from zero. We know the struggle, we know the problems, we know the path that a person has to go from being pre-seed, seed, the path, so to succeed and being able to pitch in the perfect way and to get the needed finances in different ways to his or her startup. That's why we are giving the both paths. We are giving the possibility to go through the path of business acceleration or to go to the path of crowd investment. In both ways, they can interchange. One startup can come to the business accelerator program and then find out that he is better to go on the crowd investment part of our platform, so to get crowd investment. And the same vice versa. He can come to the crowd investment and understand that he's not on the level still, so to be there and he may be lost, and then to go to the crowd to the business acceleration part. We are planning to integrate all the refugees which are coming to Portugal, which are tens of thousands of people, not just from Ukraine, but from all over the world. We are planning to be a very sustainable and a very socially oriented business. We think that this is the best step to start from. We even created our office in the Meta Horizon workrooms, so to be the first company which is going to make the startup round pitchings inside the meta world. And last but not the least, we know that today in this audience there are people from the GALP Corporation. Yesterday we had a session with GALP and we were told that GALP is doing the transition from the fossils to the eco-energy. And during the last days, when we heard and we hear our clients or our future partners or people who are going to support us, we started already the preparation of an individual special offer which we will present to Corporation GALP during the Web Summit. So what we are doing is to listen to the startups and in the same time to listen to the investors and to meet them at one point. Wars, pandemia, things are changing. World is hard. What we want to be is a center point startup where people from all over the world can come here to Portugal, get the needed services so to create the best leveled startup for the investors and to give the best services for the investors to find the best startups for them. So to scout in the best way as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleg. And now, to pitch Do to Give, I call Pedro Felipe.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to ask sorry in advance because I will pitch it in Portuguese. I haven't managed to pitch it in English already. I hope I'll manage until Web Summit starts. So it goes like this. Já algum de vocês teve que pedir ajuda humanitária alimentar? Um de nós já. Em 2020, no auge da crise do Covid, o Laurentino foi um dos 5 milhões de pedidos que chegaram ao Banco Alimentar contra a Fome e o pedido dele foi negado porque o Banco Alimentar não tinha resposta para dar a tantos pedidos. Concentrámos-nos neste problema e fizemos estudos e percebemos que a maior parte das pessoas estavam disponíveis para contribuir para as instituições de solidariedade em que acreditam, mas por isso simplesmente não tinham meios para o fazer porque a renda disponível na maior parte das famílias portuguesas ao fim do mês não chega para as contas todas. Percebemos então que tínhamos que arranjar uma solução que resolvesse os dois problemas e é assim que nasce a Do to Give. A Do to Give é uma app de cashback solidário que permite aos utilizadores, sem qualquer custo, ajudar quem mais precisa. Como? De forma relativamente simples. O utilizador vai, imaginemos ao hipermercado, faz uma compra, passa o QR Code e 6% do valor daquela compra fica na app. Metade vai ficar para a sustentabilidade da própria app e a outra metade para uma wallet virtual, onde ele depois poderá também, na aplicação, escolher a causa em que mais acredita. De uma forma transparente, eficaz, rápida e sem gastar mais um cêntimo do que teria que gastar no seu rendimento ao fim do mês, pode contribuir para ajudar as instituições de solidariedade social, que no fundo todos sabemos que é quem faz o trabalho no terreno. É assim, a Do to Give. Por isso a verdadeira pergunta que têm que fazer a vocês mesmos é: What are you willing to do to give? Obrigado.
Obrigada, Pedro. And now, to pitch e-breathy, I call Ana Filipa Rebelo.
Let's start by remembering the last time you have to run really fast to catch the bus, and then you stop and you can't catch your breath. Your lungs are burning, your throat are dry, and that is actually what people with asthma feel every time they have an asthma attack. Asthma is the most common chronic respiratory disease, counting with more than 70 billion euros in healthcare costs worldwide. And of course, there's already exists effective medication, the inhalers. However, half of the patients forget to follow their prescribed medication, and more than 80% do not know how to use properly. And so the medication never really reach the lungs. But now there's a solution. Hybridi, that is a smart inhaler composed of 3 components: a sensor that attaches directly to the inhaler the patient already uses and collects data about the airflow during the inhalation, and collecting them and send it to our mobile app. Then we have a patient management platform for the doctors to follow the therapeutic adherence of their patients. By using our mobile app, patients can evaluate if they are doing their medication right, by evaluating their inhalation profile, and also can receive reminders to take their medication. Healthcare units want us because we save them both time and money, and patients really need us because we cut in half their asthma attacks and increase their quality of life. In terms of the market size, there are 1 million new patients being diagnosed with asthma every year, and only in Europe we have 30 million patients with asthma, and 60% of them use the inhalers. Our team is ready. We combine both technical and clinical knowledge. We have a pediatrician that contacts close with the problem and with children with asthma. We have me, biomedical engineer, and together with a computer scientist, we develop our product. And we also have expertise and knowledge in the product development, legal and regulatory affairs, and together with our partners, we are ready for our next goals, for the validation and the testing of our product, the clinical trials, the CE regulation and certification, and of course, to get ready to go to the market. And for this, we are asking for 250,000 euros for the next 2 years, and join us, and let's make it easier for asthma patients to breathe.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, so now to pass to our talk, I'd like to call to the stage Giancarlo Bonsel, investor from Core Angels, Joana Larsen, Open Innovation Lead at GALP, and Ricardo Lima, Head of Startups at the Web Summit. Oh, someone has a cheerleader.
Many.
Okay, so first of all, thank you guys for accepting our invitation to be here today. I wanted to start maybe with Ricardo. Well, you've been working with startups at the Web Summit since 2017, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think are like the most common mistakes startups make when preparing and at the Web Summit?
Okay, so the first mistake is actually not preparing.
Okay.
So Web Summit is a massive event. And as I said yesterday, especially for small startups, it represents a big opportunity, yes, because we are able to attract a lot of people that otherwise would not be in Portugal. So putting them in the same space as Portuguese startups or any other startup coming to Web Summit, I think it's an opportunity, but at the same time, it's a challenge because 70,000 people, and for instance, this year, more than 2,000 startups, more than 2,300, it means that there's a lot of people competing for the attention of people like Giancarlo. So in that sense, it's very, very important for any startup attending Web Summit to take the time to actually prepare, to make sure that you have a list of people that you want to engage with, that those people are actually relevant for your business. So say in the case of an investor, that you know their investment thesis, you know at which stage are they raising, at their investing, which industries, et cetera, and then when you send the message, that the message is so relevant that they actually reply, because everyone that went to Web Summit, or if you haven't been to Web Summit, we have the app. You'll get a lot of messages in the app. Some messages are relevant to you. Some messages are not relevant to you. So the same way for us that we're participating in, we get those messages, it's actually important that you take the time to prepare. So I think that the first mistake is not taking the time to prepare, because at the end of the day, you're coming to an event, and again, especially for a startup, the resources that they have is time, money, and energy, and they're deploying the three of them coming to an event like Web Summit. So having the time to actually prepare with your team, making sure that you have goals, making sure that you know how to achieve those goals, and making sure that you engage with the event itself is crucial. In most cases, what happens when someone comes to talk to us after the event, they say, I didn't enjoy the experience, is because they didn't take the time and they weren't proactive enough in order for them to take advantage of the opportunities.
Yeah, I see a lot of startups like really focusing a lot on investors. Do you think that are other opportunities in the conference that startups tend to overlook?
Yes.
Like what?
As a startup, you shouldn't be chasing investment. You should be chasing customers.
Okay.
And there's loads of customers at Web Summit. So there's 70,000 people. In most cases, they represent some of the biggest corporations in the world. So both from a B2B perspective and from a B2C perspective, there's a lot of potential customers and partnerships that you can achieve at Web Summit. So if people focused a little bit more on actual customers and a little bit less in investors, maybe their businesses would have higher chances of success. And then another one that I think is often overlooked is the fact that, especially in Portugal, sometimes they ask me, okay, so you've been working with startups through all your events, because we organize Web Summit in Lisbon, but we also have Collision in Toronto, we also have Rise in Hong Kong. So we've been able to get in touch with a lot of startups from many different places. And one of the things that that define a Portuguese startup from the get-go is the fact that they are built from the inception with the global market in mind. And Web Summit provides an incredible opportunity for them to connect with people and that can potentially help them in that internationalization. We are able to have at Web Summit many different public officials, both local governments and national governments, that are able to kind of do what you guys do inside of Portugal, right? It's like making sure that people have a framework that they can go to and clarify any expectations or questions that they have when expanding internationally.
Okay, thank you. Giancarlo, now to you. Can you explain us a little bit about like which startups do you work with? Like what do you do?
I'm here with kind of two hats. One is I'm by myself. We have our own company, which is a startup studio, which invests in very early stage ventures, where we basically create the venture together with the founder. And there we focus mostly on B2B or B2C type of platforms, some of which has been presented already here today. I think it's very interesting. But that is very early stage. With Core Angels, which I think is where I have a bit more clout than just with myself and my own startup studio. We look slightly more, then it's seed type of investments, where the team is ready, there's already revenues being made, and there's a clear opportunity to scale internationally. But there should still be kind of a reason why you are here in Portugal. So that is very clear. So, and I think it's good for all the investors that you have at least have a base or have a reason why you look at a specific geography, and therefore also attract the startups that are there. So this is with Core Angels, which is a group of angel investors that gathered here in and around Lisbon, but also have other, let's say, groups around the world. I think there's roughly around 10, 15 of them right now. They will look at, okay, what sort of startups come here to Portugal or are being set up here, and why should we invest in them? And one of the reasons is that there should be a real relevance here for Portugal, and a real opportunity also business-wise and team-wise for them to scale. Okay.
In conferences such as the Web Summit, what is your main focus usually? Do you have like a...
Yeah, for me, so I was taking notes there. Yeah, I still have a lot of preparation to do, that's for sure. And I think indeed that is important to get the most out of it, because I've been there now, I think for the past 4 years, no, not the past 4 years, but I've been in the last 5 years, I've been there 4 times. That's correct, right? I'm not lying. I'm not missing an opportunity. Yeah, okay, that's fine. No, and I always got the feeling it was overwhelming, particularly after COVID. That was the first big event I went to after COVID. I even got this a bit more, but that's more on the personal side. indeed, preparing there, go figure out what you want to do is very important. What I look for is on the one hand inspiration, and I usually get that mostly by talking to people rather than watching a presentation or another panel discussion where people just say whatever they want without any necessarily a lot of substance. No pun intended. But I think that is great for me because you see some trends, but mostly you interact with people that are actually working on something. I think that's great. What I then also try to do is to connect with people that I have met before, but there's a lot going on and throughout the year, and the Web Summit is just a place where people come from all over the world and you can reconnect. So this is also very important for you to think ahead when preparing. You may not land the investment or the partnership or whatever customer you land there this year. Bear in mind that you build with your startup or in whatever shape or form, you build relationships for the longer term. So this is a fantastic opportunity you have here with Web Summit where you do not need to travel the world, actually the world comes to you. And this is also a great place then to reconnect. So this is, I think, another valuable opportunity that's presented.
Okay. Joana, can you explain a little bit what GALP Upcoming Energy does with startups?
Sure. I think that maybe yesterday you guys already heard a bit about this, the ones that were here before. But basically, so GALP is a Portuguese company for those that maybe are from abroad and do not know this. And we have GALP Upcoming Energies, which is our open innovation platform. Through this platform, what we do is we try to open GALP up to the outside world. And we try to connect with basically everyone that can be a potential partner to us. And that is mostly startups, or at least on my area, it is mostly what we do to connect with startups. But it can also mean collabs or anyone that is doing research that actually can interest us, or even universities that have very strong background in tech. And what we do through GALP Upcoming Energies is that if we take innovation as a funnel, we would be at the beginning of the funnel. So we would be using Web Summit, for example, as a tool to get to know people and to understand what type of people we can actually come across and bring to our business through partnerships. Because most of the scouting that we do, at least in our team, is through our innovation centers. So I would kind of try to give you a bit of a broader perspective on how this works. We have 3 innovation centers that mirror our business units. So one of these centers is the Production and Operations Business Center. This innovation center works in trying to get our core business and traditional business, which is related to oil, to actually become more of a circular economy type of business while we can still have to maintain it. And we do this through, let's say, searching about technologies such as carbon capture and utilization and storage, or low carbon fuels, or green hydrogen, so basically different types of energies, and try to kind of reshape this part of our portfolio. Then we have the Commercial Innovation Center, which has 3 main focuses. One of them is retail, the other one is mobility. If anyone here does electric mobility or something related to that, please know that we are also super interested on it. And then we have, of course, energy, because we also sell green electricity. So it's basically a very wide scope. And then we have another business and innovation center, which is related to renewables and energy management, in which we explore everything that has to do, obviously, with renewable energies. And this is truly what is the future of our company, the part related to renewables. And we explore new technologies such as, for example, agri-PV, which is basically merging agriculture with solar panels. And in Web Summit, for example, it will be a great opportunity for us to not only connect and try to find people that are actually working in all of these types of technologies, because sometimes when people hear GALP, they don't necessarily think that, oh, maybe I have a digital solution that can help, like in a store, I don't know, in the getting a store to be smarter in terms of analyzing the customers. We are also interested in that because we have service stations. So yeah, I am mostly on the scouting part, and then we help the innovation centers talk to the right people, and through that, we also do startup engagement programs, we do accelerators, we do hackathons, we do anything and everything that can try to bring us some value and create win-win situations for the startups that we work with.
Okay. During the Web Summit, are you showcasing potential products or synergies that you can do, or are you more what are you going to do actively?
Well, we are actually going to do both. So we have a booth at the Web Summit for GALP, and one thing that we are doing is we have an augmented reality experience, which is mostly focused on innovation and on the future of the company. And on this innovation augmented reality experience, you can learn about some of the pilots that we have been developing, some proof of concepts, some projects that we developed and that have now been integrated into our B2C or B2B businesses. So that's super interesting. And one thing that we also tried to do this year was to actually bring some of the startups that we work with and integrate them in the booth, not only in this experience, but also actually have them there. For example, we are working with this startup that is called Swabi, and also with Boost Portugal in terms of logistics. And we are going to have a battery swapping station in our stand. We are also going to have this Sensei. Sensei is the name of the startup. It's basically a smart cabinet in which you can put all types of things that you can have. We're actually going to put some gummy. It's not really gummy bears, but you will see when you are at the Web Summit. But it's going to be some sort of gift after people exit our experience, and it's smart, so you can open it directly with your phone. And then we are also going to have some benches there, which are from a startup that is called OmniFlow. These are benches that have solar panels on them, and then you can also charge your phone with using these benches. So it's something that it's kind of can go outside on the street and just kind of change the way that we look at mobility and smart cities and all of that. So we are turning our booth also into a showcase as well of startups that we work with. And besides that, of course, we want to also take the chance to launch 2 pilots. We are going to launch 2 pilots during the Web Summit. We are also going to launch a startup engagement program that is focused on renewables for Brazil. We are going to do this on the 4th of November. We are also going to have the final of a startup engagement program that we are doing right now. We have 4 finalists that are flying to Lisbon for the final, and we are going to announce the winner at the Web Summit. And besides that, of course, it's kind of what we were already discussing, all of us. We are here and we are at the Web Summit to try to meet right partners to work with us and to create win-win scenarios. And also, and I must mention this as well, because yes, not everyone must be looking for investment, but GALP also has a corporate venture capital team.
Okay.
It's outside of the innovation department, but still it's important to note this, because if anyone is working in energy transition or somehow digitalization as well, we might be interested, and we have people that can talk to you.
Okay, thank you. So, Giancarlo, what do you expect from a startup when they approach you?
In general, or at Web Summit specifically?
At the Web Summit,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, well, first of all, it's a great occasion to meet another person, so it's not just a business transaction that you're there for. So I would at least expect that you get properly introduced to see who this person is and what they've been doing. And so from a more personal side. On the other side, I think it's except for the why and the what, I think, which can be grand visions and groundbreaking innovation, which is nice. I myself am particularly always quite interested in the how you're going to bring it to market, because I see this is where a lot of struggles happen, not only in Portugal but worldwide, and particularly partnerships can often help there. So I think I want to reiterate the point that use the Web Summit also to forge those partnerships because they can really help you in your go-to-market. But in many cases you see, and particularly in the area where I'm always often looking at is platform types of businesses, so marketplaces, it's often situated in people that want to create both at the same time. So they want to create the supply side and the demand side at the same time, which is very difficult. It costs you a lot in marketing and in sales and in technology, and that means that your startup may not be on the best path. So I think after you've explained what you'll be doing, I think I'm always very interested in what makes you different in the execution. Is there a partnership, or is there a way that you are really able to convince your first set of customers that makes the rollout of whatever you've developed, or been developing, makes that much more tangible and also much more, let's say, less theoretic, but much more practical and realistic? I think that is something that I'll always be probing for.
Okay. And you, Joana, when startups approach you for potential partnerships or so, what do you expect? What information do you expect to learn from them, just in a short pitch?
I agree with what Giancarlo said, and I think that in the beginning of our conversation, you also made some very good points, and you mentioned preparation. And I think that preparation is something that immediately when you come across someone, you can understand if the person is prepared or not. And I think that if you can actually merge preparation and sense of opportunity, because you need to have both, you really do need to be prepared for these types of situations. And usually when I talk to someone, I already can understand if the person is genuinely interested in working with us, and if they understand how. Because somehow when you are listening to a pitch and you have already listened to so many, you kind of start spotting some different details that maybe make this person different than others. Let's say that sometimes people might say that is this a phone?
It's outside. No, it's outside.
It's a cruise ship?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, sorry. Well, I was saying that what I think makes it different is somehow you are talking to someone and they mention, oh, I read about that partnership that you signed last week, or they mention a very specific part of your business that maybe it's not the first thing that you find when you search for GALP online and you go on the website. I think that's a very, very interesting thing. Or even when they bring someone up from the company, they say, oh, I watched this person speak in a talk and I got interested in meeting with you, because you immediately start forming these connections in your mind. So I think that's super important. And of course, if the person is prepared and they have their pitch deck, or they are just enticing when they talk to you, I think that always helps. And then if things go well in the conversation, and I feel that sometimes this is overlooked, but I think that it's also important to mention. When the conversation ends and you get each other's contacts, I think it's important that you really follow up on the conversation and that you choose also the right time to do so. For example, if you are on the Web Summit and you send an email straight away and you don't even try to personalize it about the talk that you just had with the person, there is a very high chance that the email will get lost on the inbox, because everyone is at the conference and just networking, so it will get lost because people are not paying attention. So maybe wait a week and just send the email then, and try to be a bit more specific, and try to remember what exactly you spoke to the person about. So maybe, so you don't forget, write some notes after the conversation, so you don't afterwards forget, who did you talk to? Oh, to this person, I mentioned this specific part of the business, so I won't forget to talk about that. I always feel like that is very, very important. And it also makes makes it easier on our side to be able to respond accordingly and to be able to understand how exactly we can actually approach the person and eventually develop a partnership.
Okay. Okay, so now I wanted to open the discussion for questions from the audience. I don't know if anyone wants to talk or if we have online, no. Questions? Well, then, yes, I guess so. Everyone's really prepared for next week. Well, while people are still shy, I can go for one last round. So if you could give like one last tip and like more important for anyone who's preparing for next week, what would it be?
Just one.
Yeah.
And I start.
Yes.
Okay. One tip. I'm going to be like a broken record. I think it's the goals. It's
Yes.
like in most cases what happens when you go to an event like Web Summit is that it's overwhelming, especially if it's the first time, both in terms of the number of people that are there, but in terms of the speakers. As Giancarlo was saying, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily go to Web Summit to see the speakers, but I do think that there are some really, really cool speakers. There's also content that is interactive, so that you can actually interact with the speakers. There's a really cool one that particularly I like a lot, which is the Q&A stage, which essentially we bring a speaker and then people get to ask them questions. So I think it's really cool. But ultimately, it comes down to your goals. Like the conference is just a sea of opportunities there, and not every opportunity should be grabbed by everyone, because everyone has different goals. Whether those goals are personal, I think you should have personal goals, but you also should have company goals in the case of a startup. Okay. And ultimately, an advice, just have fun, enjoy the experience. I think it's really, really cool. I think the event has a really cool energy. I think the city embraces the event.
You didn't talk about Night Summit.
I was gonna do it. It's like, that was my leeway. And if you can, you should go to Night Summit. This year is gonna be really, really cool. So, can I? Okay, so so Tuesday the 1st is going to be in Hub Creative do Beato, which is very, very close by. It's going to be exclusive for Web Summit attendees. Then on Wednesday, it's going to be in Pink Street. We're actually extending Pink Street.
Really?
We're going to add 170 meters of pink carpet to accommodate more people. That is going to be open for people to actually attend also if they're not coming to Web Summit. And on the Thursday, we're going to do Pavilião Carlos Lopes, also exclusive for Web Summit attendees. That one is going to be really, really cool. In the 5 years that I've been to Web Summit, I've been to Night Summit a couple of times. Usually I'm working or very, very tired, obviously. But I'll try my best to be in the one in Pavilião Carlos Lopes, because it's going to be really, really cool.
Okay. Have you guys heard of any success stories from the Night Summit? From startups?
Success? What?
Yes.
The way you asked that question was like, I don't know what exactly. I was going to ask now. It's like, what is success?
Sometimes there are stories about how I met an investor at Night Summit, or how I got a deal, or
what kind of deals again?
I don't know. You tell me.
There are a couple. There's one very, very famous that was back in Dublin, back in 2011. So Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, signed the Series B term sheet at Night Summit. So they met in a bar. The investor was coming. The investor said, "Travis, I'm going to be in this event. Do you want to come?" He came. And then they met in a hotel in Dublin. They signed. There's another one, a dinner with a Portuguese founder, Daniela from Define AI, sorry. They also met their lead investor, Evolution Equity Partner, at a dinner in 2018. So it's always cool to network with a glass of wine or beer in your hand, if you drink, or a mocktail or a juice or a water, whatever it is. But it's like more like in the event. I think one thing that Giancarlo said that kind of resonated with me is like a lot of times you see that interactions are very transactional, because like everyone is trying to
get something,
do something exactly. Whereas like if you take that environment and you put people in a more relaxed environment, like interactions are more human, are more like trying to get to know the person as a person. And then usually those conversations lead to better outcomes than when you're trying to actually get something from someone. But that's what I feel, even personally. When someone is trying to sell me something, I'm like,
yes, I
buy me a
understand.
beer first.
Okay, so before going to Joana, I'd like to, Jody, do you want to?
Actually, a question related to speakers. 2 or 3 that you're super excited that you were able to nail down for this year, and just to give us some little insight on that, because there's so much programmatically. I'd love to hear 2 or 3 people that you think are must-sees.
Okay. You're going to put me in the spot. Okay. So one that I'm really, really, really curious to see, he came last year as well from a startup perspective, and we did a couple of things with him, and he's incredible in the way that he asks questions to startup founders, is Jeff Ralston, the president of Y Combinator. He's just incredible to see when he hears a pitch and actually break it down. So we're actually having one Q&A session with him. So I think that if you have a startup or if you're interested in technology in general, I think that one is really, really cool. Then our President Marcel is also always, he gets to speak at the last day, and he always gets people inspired in the way that he looks at Portugal and technology and how technology can actually help society move forward. And then we have a couple of surprises at the opening ceremony on the 1st of November. So the opening ceremony is on the 1st, on Tuesday. It's first come, first serve. Doors open at 5. It's going to start around 6. We do first come, first serve. And I think it's going to be really, really cool. And then we all go to Hub Creative do Viato, to the first night of Night Summit, and it's going to be incredible. You're very welcome.
Okay. So, Joana, do you want to go for your...
For the most important tip?
Yeah.
Well, I think Ricardo already spoke a lot about this, but I would just add a bit to what he said. So I think that you prepare and you have your goals, and if you are lucky enough to go with a team, so if you have your company and you have more than one ticket, maybe try to prepare as a group. So you're a team and the event is huge. There are so many things to do. So maybe just in order to capitalize everything to the maximum and to bring in as many opportunities as possible, try to split your time. Try to work as a team. Try to say, oh, okay, I spoke to this person, didn't work. Instead of everyone just going to the same person, like the 2 or 3 people, because also it's a bit more intimidating sometimes if it's too many people going, you know, talking to just one. So try to just divide to conquer, like they usually say. And also, don't feel discouraged if you're maybe not really finding, if you are really talking to this person, or you go and talk to Giancarlo and you really want an investment, well, maybe the investment is not going to happen, but you don't know if you are going to find a mentor. You don't know if you are going to find someone that can give you business advice, because sometimes people are not really on the same page on something, maybe because their business is not going to suit yours in terms of partnership or in terms of you being a customer or finding customers. Sometimes they can't invest, or things are not aligning, but maybe you can always learn something from them. And through this person that you meet, if you connect in the Night Summit or in some other opportunity, this person might not be the person that is going to help you, but they might have connections that can take you there. On this part, I speak also with some experience, because it has happened to me many times, in which sometimes it's not really with me that I feel, okay, I am not going to be the person that maybe can work with this person in particular, but I know someone that will love to know this person and that maybe can help this person out. And sometimes these type of connections can go and can last for years even, and you don't even notice at first that it can be like that, but you kind of continue to see what the person is doing and be happy for the person, because the person is actually achieving new things. So yeah, I would say that be prepared, but also be ready to be spontaneous as well.
Okay.
That's my advice.
Any last questions? No? Okay, so it's your turn, Giancarlo.
I think I fall nicely in line here because I want to pick up on the spontaneous topic. No, it's fine actually. You set me up very well. I appreciate it. No, it's obviously it's tempting to go there very goal oriented, and you must, because otherwise it's going to be a mess. But what I enjoy a lot, and obviously yes, there are speakers that I also enjoy a lot, and I also enjoy meeting some people in person. But what I enjoy a lot is always carving out a bit of time to go and see all the startups that have their stands there in their booths and see what's there. And they may not have anything to give you, right? Because they are in a completely different space that they operate. They cannot give you funding, or maybe even they want to be a bit secretive about their investors because they're still closing something. I don't know. But what you will find is, one, there's a lot of ideas, and not that you should be stealing them, but it's just inspiring to see what other people are working on. Second, just like yourselves, you will meet very energized people that want to change the world, right? And that's a fantastic opportunity that these people are all coming here to Lisbon, and that you can meet there in person. And you may have a chat about what you're doing, the struggles that you have in running and setting up a startup, or the ideas that you have that you cannot yet explore, but maybe, who knows, in future you could be exploring them together. So I think carving out a bit of time, maybe unstructured time, without a big plan, but just going around and appreciating the fact that there's so many people from so many different places trying to work and trying to build businesses. I think that's a cool plus, I would say, of the Web Summit.
Okay, thank you. So a round of applause for our speakers today. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so now I want to ask so Catherine Farrell, Director of Communications of Web Summit, to do our closing speech for this session. I can see her. Hi, Catherine.
Thank you, Patricia, for organising this. This is my first startup or Road to Summit or Startup Portugal event. I hear you do one a month, so incredible work. And yeah, I don't really have much more to say other than what Ricardo very eloquently said. I think the preparation is obviously key, but one thing we've kind of noticed in our preparation, because obviously we just see so much coming through that's going to be at the event, and with regard to like Road to Web Summit as a program in general, it's great to see the quality this year, and also the focus on impact and like tech for good, I guess. We run an impact campaign as well, where we specifically look for startups that are in that space. It could be climate tech, health tech, anything addressing climate change. And it's really important that you'll see the theme across Web Summit as well, where you know, we want tech companies and founders and early stage founders to really be focusing their skills in that direction as well. So it's really clear to see that that's evident in the Road to Web Summit program. And then also just like be wary that there's like 70,000 people that are going to fly in to see the city and the tech talent and you guys as well. And that's like investors from all around the world. So we're so excited, and I think you never know who you're going to meet in the queue for a burger, or even people coming in through the airports always end up like making pals. So I think always just be open-minded, and the guys said it very well, just open to opportunity all the time. So yeah, we can't wait, and it's amazing to showcase Portugal in this kind of way throughout the few days. So lots of water, good shoes, a little bit of drinking, and you should be fine. So thanks so much for having us. This is really great. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now it's time to go for a drink. I want to thank Catherine and the whole team of the Web Summit, because they've been incredible, not only organizing Web Summit in Portugal and doing this great job within our community, but also with Startup Portugal, with Road to Web Summit. So I want to also ask another round of applause for them. So I want to remind you all to visit us at Pavilion 4, the Portugal stand. And now let's all go for a beer upstairs. So please be welcome to go upstairs and talk a little bit more. So thank you and bye.